It's been nearly 2 years since the fatal shooting of 18-year-old Jason Kutt in Nockamixon State Park. A new policy is now in place to make sure it doesn't happen again. It was October 24th, 2020, just a few months into the pandemic, when Jason and his girlfriend went to watch the sunset at Nockamixon Lake. They were sitting on an overlook when he was shot in the head by a hunter. Police later arrested Kenneth Heller and charged him with the shooting. Heller says he shot what he believed to be an animal. Since then, Jason's parents turned their grief into a mission for change, petitioning Harrisburg and helping to come up with solutions to make parks safer for everyone.
And we should point out earlier this month, the Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resources announced new rules that prohibit rifles and handguns for hunters in 4 state parks. Jason's parents, Dana and Ron, joining us this morning. Great to have you with us. We appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
And today holds a very special meaning for you.
Yes, today would have been Jason's 20th birthday.
20th birthday.
Yeah, 20. Yeah.
Before we get to that date in October, tell us about Jason.
Oh, I don't know if we have enough time.
The biggest thing, everybody called him the gentle giant. He was a big kid, but he was so kind-hearted. He would do anything for anybody at any given time. We have just many instances. He would just
go out of his way,
pick up one of his friends. They needed a ride home, just anything like that. And that's what he was all about. You know, he loved to help people.
Mm-hmm. So. And what did he like to do?
Oh, music. And he loved the 80s rock. So he was a self-taught kind of guitar player, and then he was taking lessons from someone in Sellersville. It helped build up his style.
And then along the way, he's actually learned from some of these other musicians, some of which are going to be at our benefit concert, that he just fell in love with it. Once he saw this, making that guitar talk and stuff like that, and he was actually becoming pretty avid with it.
He was a special kid. He was your baby.
Yeah.
October 24th, 2020, everything changed. Take us through that morning.
Wow. Well, Ron was away hunting up at a friend's cabin, like 3-4 hours away, something like that. My daughter, who's 25, was in Pittsburgh at school, so it was just Jason and I that weekend. Mm-hmm. Normal day, and we spent time together, and then we had lunch with my mom, and then he says, well, I'm going to go spend time with my girl. Is that okay? And I'm like, yeah, it was supposed to be a mom's weekend, but okay, go ahead. So he'd leave, I love you too, and I'd be like, make good choices every time he left. And he's like, I know, Mom. And it wasn't until maybe 4 or 5 hours later, I got a phone call from his girlfriend's mom that there had been an accident. So, and it just rocked me. So
what did they think happened at first?
That day, they weren't sure, because, the girl was very obviously traumatic and upset, so it was just at that point, it was getting Jason care, getting her care as well, and talking to her and see what she could remember.
And Jason was taken to the hospital and you showed up?
Yeah, so
the longest ride in history. I mean, she called me. Fortunately, I was in an area that I got service, and I knew something wasn't right because she would know not to call me while you're, out in the woods. But so when I got that call, it was just, your whole world changed from that point, and then, like I said, it was the longest ride in history coming home and not knowing what to expect.
And that was the hardest thing too, is how do I tell him when he comes to the hospital that, I knew Jason wasn't going to make it, and it's not something I wanted to say over the phone, he's driving. Yeah. So I had to wait till he got there. Of course, then when he got there and, we greeted each other and I gave him a hug and I just whispered in his ear, I said, he's not going to make it. And I could feel like he was going to collapse, in my arms.
But you hear from so many parents, it's the numbness. It's the hardest thing to lose a child. When you lost Jason and you found out what had happened, what were you told?
Still, we weren't sure what had happened. We knew there was some sort of a hunting accident, and then as we started putting some of the pieces together with, the neurosurgeons, talking with the detectives and everything, that's when we started trying to put this together. You know, as a hunter myself, I understand the possibilities of an accident to happen. So we weren't really looking towards necessarily blame for anybody. We were looking at what happened, how can we justify this and fix this, and so on and so forth.
And that's something that you've been able to do, is take the how can we fix this? And you guys have been working on that since then. And what kind of changes have you been trying to get done when it comes to making sure that this doesn't happen to anyone else's child?
Well, I think one of the things is that not only the family, this is a ripple effect. You know, you have the family, you have friends, the community. There was fear now with the community wanting to go to the park. So when we were ready as a family, we did reach out to the park system, DCNR, some officials of the state, saying, look, we have some concerns, we want to have some conversations. And they were very open about it, like, yes, come in. We went to Harrisburg, we had some meetings, and they were some hard discussions, and they really appreciated that we brought concerns and possible solutions at the same time. So
solutions like signage?
Oh yeah, signage. Signage is always going to be a difficult thing because they get damaged, they get removed, so it's constant putting them up. But yeah, signage they've done really well with. One of the things is making sure that education is out there for everybody who uses the park, not just for hunters, not just for whoever visits, the kayakers, the fishermen, the horseback riders. Everybody needs to be knowledgeable when you're going out to these parks, because if you remember, at this time, this was in the middle of the pandemic. It was only 7 months. We were forcing our communities out into the open because they were going stir crazy in the house.
Right.
So where are they going to go? They're going to go to your state parks. They're going to go to those open spaces. So there was a lot of people all of a sudden going to these areas.
So now there are a number of restrictions in place. I want to talk about the fundraiser, but I know a lot of people are wondering the person responsible. They have been brought to justice. They're currently serving time.
They are.
Yes, they are.
All right, let's talk about the fundraiser.
Thank you.
I know you're excited about that.
And before we get to the fundraiser, I do want to also make sure that people understand Jason at a young age. I think he might have heard us talking about our plans for ourselves. And he's like, Mom, I want to be a gift of life donor. So when this all happened, they came to us and asked us how we would feel about it. And Ron and I are like, why are you asking us? It should be on his driver's license. But he had a junior license, so they don't put that on until they're 18. But to date, he has helped 254 lives.
Wow.
With his donations. And that's just the donations. You think about families, friends, all that. So please, 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 if you can, donate, because it makes a big difference. And that leads into our foundation, right? So talk about the foundation.
We have now since created the Jason Kutt Legacy Fund as a nonprofit foundation. For us going out and doing things that we believe Jason would want us to do. Keeping his namesake alive. We're having a benefit concert, matter of fact, next Saturday.
Party in the Park.
Party in the Park. It's going to be an amazing show. We actually hope that everybody sees this and they want to come out. And believe it, all the bands that once they found out about this, they were like, absolutely, let's do this. So we're hoping this is going to be
Where's
huge.
it going to be?
It's going to be at the Univest Performance Center in Quakertown.
Okay.
Saturday, September 10th. From 1 till 6-ish.
And how can you get tickets, and how much are they?
You can go to Eventbrite,
okay.
Or they can scan the QR code on the flyer that they've seen now. Go to Eventbrite, keywords Party at the Park, and the tickets are $30 through Eventbrite. They'll be $35 at the door.
And once again, we'll have all that information on our website. Dana, Ron, we appreciate it.
Yes,
I know it's been a difficult road, but
thank you.
you're headed down the right road.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
We'll be right
for the
back.
work you're doing.